Hello everyone, I am Jonathan Little, and a question I've been asked a ton recently is where is it safe to play online poker? Where are the games decent? Where's the rake reasonable? Where am I not going to be cheated? Where am I going to get paid? And today, we're going to answer all of those questions and more. First, I'm going to talk about the 3 poker sites where I, Jonathan Little, actively play today. These are sites that I am not worried about them not paying me. These are sites with generally good reputations. These are sites that can give you lots of experience and a chance to win lots of real money. So the first place I play is Club WPT Gold. They are the new kid on the block. Let's say they've been making a big push into online poker in America thanks to the sweepstakes model, and they have a lot of action, probably way more than you think they do if you are not already playing there. They have a ton of small, medium, and high stakes tournaments with huge guarantees. They actually ran, I believe it was a World Poker Tour, call it main event on their site recently, and the winner of that got their name on the Champions Cup. They also have a whole lot of other tournaments. They have a lot of free rolls, and they have reasonable rake on their tournaments. I've actually hosted a few of them on Club WPT already with $5,000 prize pools. You can check if I'm having any more of those at pokercoaching.com/freeroll. When you sign up and use code PC, you'll be able to get access to whatever of those I run in the future. Speaking of free rolls, Club WPT Gold actually has a ton of free rolls every single day. You don't have to put in any money at all. You can go there, you can play, you can win some money. I streamed myself playing our $5,000 free roll the other day. Look at all of you, letting me take 4th place in my own game. And in one of the random free rolls, I won 35 cents. May not sound like a lot, but if you have literally no money and you want to get some experience playing, somewhat fast structured tournaments, that is a very, very good thing to do. So definitely check out Club WPT Gold. The next place I play is Coin Poker. That is a crypto poker site. They only take in money using crypto. They only pay out money using crypto, but the deposits are close to instant and the cash outs are also close to instant. They also have a whole lot of various promotions. Recently they had cash games at high stakes with no rake in their cash game world championship. That was pretty cool to see. They also have reasonable rake in general, and on top of that, they have a rake back program using their CHP coin. So make sure you look into that. It's a little bit convoluted, but it's a very, very good site to play on, in my opinion, especially if you're trying to get experience in tournaments, because they have relatively small field tournaments that are happening all the time. Compared to a site like WPT Gold that will have a ton of players in their tournaments, 1,000 or more, the fields are a little bit smaller on Coin Poker, which is really, really, really good for you to get experience because inevitably you will make the final table more often, right? If you're playing in a 100-person tournament, you're going to final table, call it 1 in 10 times if you're roughly neutral. But if you're playing in a 5,000-person tournament, it's not going to happen all that often at all, even if you're really, really good. So if you're looking to get experience, Coin Poker is an awesome site for you. Also, I play on WSOP.com. I'm in Nevada a decent amount. The problem with WSOP.com is it is not available in very many jurisdictions. Also, the rake in the micro stakes games is pretty high on WSOP, higher than both Club WPT Gold and Coin Poker after accounting for the rake back. However, you can win a bracelet on WSOP. I won one just the other day. Here you have it. Yeah. The problem with the bracelet events, though, on WSOP is that they charge a lot of rake. If you look at the bracelet event rake and the ring event rake for the circuit events, it's actually higher than their normal tournaments, which is frustrating. Feels like a bit of a money grab. But that said, they cash out pretty quickly. You can put the money in easily, and I'm not really concerned with being cheated or scammed or anything like that on WSOP or Coin Poker or Club WPT Gold. That's generally what I would recommend you play on if you are going to play. If I was to travel outside of America, I would certainly make a point to play on both PokerStars and GG Poker. GG Poker has very, very large fields, kind of like Club WPT Gold, and the tournaments in the small and middle stakes are quite soft. That said, the rake may be very, very high on GG Poker, especially when you get to the middle and high stakes, so make sure you pay attention to that. PokerStars has the best rake structure of any of the sites, really, and they've been around forever. Again, no problems paying people out. They've done a ton of good things to help the poker space in general. So if I do travel out of the country and they have good tournament series or something like that happening on those sites, I'll probably play in those as well. Now, recently, a lot of sites have been doing some things that I will refer to as gimmicks, as a way to try to take extra money from you, which is essentially more rake. And I would strongly recommend you do not fall for gimmicks. Basically, if the site is asking you to pay more money for something, it's probably not a good deal for you. The most obvious example of this is bad beat jackpots. You may say, but a lot of the money that goes into the bad beat jackpot goes back out to the players. Yeah, but it's essentially taking more money out of every single pot and then giving it to a small number of people who happen to get lucky. And you don't really want that. You do not want to jack up the variance for no good reason, especially if you were just usually the one losing more often than not. Also, a lot of sites have called them spin and go tournaments. PokerStars introduced these quite a while ago, but they're available on most of the other sites. And the rake structure in these is often a little bit hard to figure out because they pay out a gigantic prize every once in a while, nowhere near the initial buy-in amounts a lot of the time, and it's hard to know how much the rake actually is, so make sure you do your research and figure out if you are going to play those games if the rake structure is overly high. Also, some of the sites now allow you to buy digital items and throw them at your opponents. If your opponent gets lucky on you, you can throw them a pile of poop or a tomato or whatever else you want to for the cost of $1 or a penny or whatever it is. And while it may be cute and fun to throw some poop at your opponent, that's just extra rake. Also, Club WPT Gold, I believe, recently allowed you to pay money to see your opponent's cards at the showdown. While that information may be valuable, it's probably not 3 big blinds valuable or whatever it is they're charging. I would recommend you do not click that button. Also, some sites allow you to run it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever, however many times you would like, if you pay an extra $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever it is. And assuming you are anywhere near properly bankrolled in your game, that is also not a good deal. Now, you may say, what if you, Jonathan, did not play on the site that I played on? Is that site okay? The short answer is I'm not entirely sure because I do not play on any of the other sites for all sorts of various reasons. Sometimes the site just doesn't have a whole lot of traffic at the high stakes. Sometimes I've heard bad things about the games. Maybe people are colluding in them, or perhaps there are bots in the games. Maybe the site has not paid out at various points in time, even though they may be paying out today. It's hard to know exactly what is going on all sites at all times. You have to do your research and you have to be vigilant. You have to protect yourself before you wreck yourself. We've discussed this thoroughly. If the site has been known to not pay out at various points in time, even if they did get caught up at some point, that may mean the site doesn't have enough money on hand to pay people. And that could be a very, very big problem. If you've heard about bot problems on various sites, that is an issue. A lot of the bots are quite sophisticated at this point in time, and they will play very well. And if the sites are not policing that decently aggressively, that certainly could be a problem. Real-time assistance could also be a problem on various sites. So you need to make sure that ideally your site is protecting you against all of these things. Okay? I would definitely recommend against playing on the various, call them app games, where there are middlemen, hosts, whatever you want to call them, who facilitate getting money in and out of various apps. I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm playing in a game where we're playing for play money, but we give money to someone to hold and they're the middleman. While these things are often perfectly fine, usually they're games among friends or people in the same locality, right? Every once in a while, these things blow up and go horribly, horribly wrong because the middleman decides to gamble away all the money, steal the money, whatever. You do not need to take that risk in 2025. You may say, but the games are super soft. Doesn't that make it worth it? And my answer is simply no. Play on a site that will pay you out close to instantly. Again, the 3 sites I mentioned before, Club WPT Gold, Coin Poker, and WSOP, all pay out very, very quickly. So let's talk about other ways to protect yourself. The number one way you can protect yourself in online poker is simply don't keep all that much money online. Now, what is that much money is going to be relative. I, Jonathan Little, personally have, $25,000 online across various sites that I play on because that's about what I need to play for a week or two if things go very poorly for the games that I play. Okay, fine. You may say $25,000 is a lot of money. Again, not for the games I'm playing because I'm playing, $3,500 buy-in tournaments sometimes, right? That said, if you're normally playing, let's say, $10 buy-in tournaments, you do not need to keep $1,000 in an online poker site, right? You just don't need to. You can deposit relatively quickly into all the decent regulated poker sites, so you don't need to keep that much money online. So if you don't keep that much money online, nothing can really go all that badly for you. Worst case, it takes an extra few hours to deposit or something like that, right? Next, you need to play within your limits. Online poker's hard. It's a tough game. A lot of people lose at online poker, and compared to live poker, where you don't get to play all that many hands, it is far easier to see that you are actually losing somewhat quickly. And a lot of people in online poker, I've seen some of you in the comment section down below. Hello, if you like the comment section, if you like talking to me down there, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. Some of the people down there say that online poker is rigged, or they're being cheated, or people are colluding, or something just feels off. And I hate to break it to you, but you're losing not because you're being cheated, not because of bots, not because of anything like that. You're losing for two main reasons. Number one, the rake in micro stakes and small stakes games on many sites is very high. It's actually pretty high on WSOP. GG Poker is also kind of high. Poker Stars is very reasonable. Coin Poker is reasonable enough after accounting for the rake back, and Club WPT Gold is also reasonable. That said, it is still relatively high, and if you do not have a decent edge in the small stakes games, the rake will eat you alive. So even if you're actually pretty decent at poker, you have to make sure you are beating the rake. Next, you may not be as good as poker as you think you are. A lot of people think they're awesome at poker. Maybe they can win at live poker, but not online. Or maybe they are winning in the short term at live poker because you only play 30 hands per hour live, but you can play hundreds of hands per hour online. Maybe the variance just hasn't caught up to them yet. Who knows? But recognize that online poker is in general much tougher than live poker. Even on sites like Club WPT Gold, where they're making a big push to get a lot of recreational players on board, and as some other content creators have said out there, their games are pretty soft, and I would generally agree with that. But don't blame others for your problems, right? Don't think that they're bots or collusion or anything like that. You're not losing because you're not good enough to beat the rake. All right? And if you're not good enough to beat the rake, what can you do? Well, we discussed this many times on this channel, but to win at poker, you only have to do 3 things. You do have to do all 3 of them, though. You have to, number 1, find a game you can beat. You may not be good enough right now to beat any online poker game. And that may be a tough pill to swallow. It may hurt your ego. But it very possibly might be true, especially if you have a track record of not winning. So how do you find a game you can beat if you can't find one currently? Well, either look for really, really, really soft games, or the other option, which I recommend, is you actually make a point to get better at poker. I have a poker training site, pokercoaching.com. We have an in-depth tournament and cash game masterclass that will teach you everything you need to succeed in the games today. Also, we have peakgto.com, which will teach you all sorts of GTO strategies that will help you learn to play good, strong, fundamentally sound poker. And if you play far more fundamentally sound than your opponents in the small and micro stakes games, you're going to win. You're going to be better than all of your opponents, and you're going to be able to beat the rake and win a decent amount. So you got to get good at the game. So number 1, find a game you can beat, probably by actually spending time getting better at poker and not playing. I know a lot of people just want to play, but playing makes you better very, very, very slowly. Studying makes you better way faster. You got to do the work to win. Online poker is not easy. Okay? Next, you got to play the game a lot. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who are losing, they are playing the game a lot, but they have not found a game they can beat. And the fact that they're playing a lot in the game they can't beat proves they're losing. So they need to get the edge and then play. And if you do that, your results, instead of trickling down, will trickle up. And finally, you have to keep a proper bankroll. Check out pokercoaching.com/bankroll. We have a large article there on bankroll management. But in general, you may need a much bigger bankroll than you think you do for the games you are playing. For example, if you're playing even cash games where your edge is relatively low because of high rake, you're going to need quite a big bankroll. If you're playing tournaments that have 10,000 players in it, you're going to need a gigantic bankroll simply because you don't take first place all that often. Check out pokercoaching.com/bankroll for that. Recognize, though, that if you're playing in a game where you don't have an edge, you are going to lose over time. And I don't want you to lose, I want you to win. That's the whole point of this channel, is to help you succeed at poker. If you want to succeed at poker, click the like and subscribe button for me before we wrap it up. So that is it for today. My 3 recommendations for online poker, exactly where I play today: Club WPT Gold, Coin Poker, and WSOP. And if I did go out of the country and had plenty of time to play, I would also recommend Poker Stars and GG. If you enjoyed today's video, tell your friends. If you have anyone who's skeptical about online poker, send them over here. Good luck in your games. Have fun. If you have any recommendations or thoughts, write them in the comment section below. And I'll talk to you next time.